Hi, I'm Carla. I'm based in London. What I'm going to present to you is really some research ideas. I quite recently finished my PhD in geosciences, geochemistry, and the work that I'm doing at the moment is a little bit off track from that. It's thinking more in the ecosystem services frame. I've made the cardinal sin of putting a huge amount of text at the top of this slide, really so you can actually have that in mind whilst I'm talking through my ideas, just so you have that there. This is kind of the core of what I'm hoping to sort of set out to do. So really, I'm a physical scientist. I was rather a nosy physical scientist because I did my physical science PhD, and about halfway through was working with quite a lot of stakeholders in local government, and went, this is quite interesting, actually, having these conversations, looking at how my very on-the-ground, technical research was being discussed, was being taken up or not by these people that we were speaking to. So the work that I kind of have been doing since and continuing to do is looking at how physical science knowledge in various forms feeds into and can be used in urban decision making. And particularly as a case study, even though I know it's an enormous case study, I've taken ecosystem services in urban green space as a sort of example of that. Through the power of clip art here, I'm kind of showing you my specific thinking in that we have this idea of sort of physical science knowledge going into this system somewhere, these conversations that then happen in the middle, decisions are made, policy is made, and then things happen at the end of it. But obviously we know that it doesn't happen always in the linear way like that. So I'm very interested in what physical science knowledge goes in, but I'm also very interested in the process in the middle as to what conversations are had, how does it get conveyed through, specifically thinking about the framing of ecosystem services, how does this get conveyed through conversations into things that are actually being done. I have a set of case studies, quite limited at the moment, because this is a very small project that I'm thinking of. One being London, similar to the previous speaker, because that's where I live. It's a nice convenient one. It's also one that's thinking very broadly about green infrastructure and ecosystem services. One is Cape Town in South Africa, who are doing very, very similar things. I'm essentially collecting all the data that I possibly can on the sorts of stuff they're doing on urban green space, green infrastructure. This is academic, this is non-academic, this is frameworks, any existing frameworks that these places have come up with that sort of brings these ecosystem services thinking into how they're managing their urban green space. Essentially, this is it. This is a kind of process of collating this data into case studies at the moment, and coming out, hopefully, at the end of it with some quantitative and probably qualitative, at this stage, tools for thinking about how these concepts have been applied in this very limited set of case studies, hopefully going forward to look at more case studies. And actually trying to sit down with the people who are producing these documents, who are going through this thinking, and looking at ways of co-producing frameworks and documents for using ecosystem services in the most efficient way, given the sorts of physical science knowledge we have coming in at the beginning. That is me.
Method you want to use for analyzing these documents and all the inputs? Do you decide on that so far?
I have, but the answer will definitely be more than 2 minutes, so we can sit down. There's a number of different stages that I'm going to go through, so it might be better unless there are any other questions, and I can take 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can.
Go. Essentially, it's the main thing that I'm going to be doing is picking out. This is going to be an exceptionally long, convoluted response. A large amount of it is picking out keywords that are related to ecosystem services and how they have been tracking them through the documents. But it's a lot more complicated than that. Because actually.
That's a good idea, though.
Sorry?
That gives a good idea.
It gives a good idea, yeah. That's the basic principle of it. It is essentially trying to track sort of concepts and keywords through these.
Okay.
Perfect. Nice.
Thank you very much.